Hello, welcome to my channel, Wing Spiritual Clarity. My name's Wendy Wing. I'm doing a reading for the collective. Welcome, collective. So since this is a reading for the collective, I'm not tuning into one person's specific energies. I'm tuning into general energies. So take what resonates and leave the rest. Wow. All right, some core issues. If you would like a reading where I tune into your specific energies, you are very welcome to sign up for a reading with me. I do mediumship readings, psychic readings. I can do tarot readings, really whatever. If you're drawn to my space, we can make it work. So, all right. Ooh, something keeps coming up. I don't have it on my website, but I've done a lot of house clearings too, and I don't know why I'm mentioning that. Maybe someone here needs some help with their house. All right. Now that that's out of the way, collective. In the past, you were in the energy of balance, justice. Something happened in the past that it feels like it was very unfair. I can feel this cry for justice, something very, very unfair that created, you had to retreat from the situation, from the people. You really had to separate yourself to go heal. Feels like a bit of isolation, trying to figure things out. I like that. All your answers are within. So going within to find your answers looks really beautiful and tells me that you have a lot of wisdom, even when you're off balance. Okay. Whatever this was in the past, whatever this imbalance that really caused a need for you to go within and heal, to separate yourself, that is a fated event. It feels huge. It feels unexpected. It like there's a part of you that might have sensed something like this, but somehow this was very mind-blowing. It really I get the feeling like you completely thought your life and you pictured what was going on a certain way, and you're pretty sure that you were seeing things clearly, but what happened ripped the blindfold off. I get the feeling like you just a sudden awareness, or a string of sudden awarenesses of how distorted your perception about this really was. And why it's fated, why it's destined, is it was time for you to face these untruths. I get the feeling that you had to stay in a situation. To stay in a situation, you had to lie to yourself a lot. There's so many lessons, and for each of you, it feels like a lot of different lessons. But why this is happening is so you can have success and to build your confidence. Something about this situation, I think, because of the lying to yourself, because of unwilling to really see what was going on, there's a part of you that knew that it wasn't accurate, and it just kept eroding your self-confidence. And so you couldn't figure out how to be confident and stay in whatever this is. And so the universe helped you by showing you, by revealing. It feels fated because what I'm getting is that you are meant to be victorious. You are meant to not only lead yourself to victory, but lead others to victory. There's something really beautiful about where you are right now in this process. Sure, I'm positive it didn't feel beautiful while you're in it. Maybe still doesn't seem to have value. But I get that there's a lot of value coming out of this past situation. So collective, in present time, you're in the energy of transformation, death. Especially, I think, this last week, the general readings are very transformative. I can feel the transformation energy. And with transformation, there's confusion when you're in the middle of it, and doubt, and a lot of like dark energies come up to be met. So what's going on specifically? Feels like an end of a cycle. Oh, yes. It's the end of this cycle. Whatever this was in the past, whatever this really destined event, but where you needed justice and you had to go within, it is the end. It feels like a transformation, for one thing, lying to yourself and not seeing the truth of things, being unconscious. And I feel like you have felt on some level that that you're separate, that you are separate from others, that you haven't found your people. You have done your best to fit into situations, to fit into your family, fit into work situations. It has been a lot about you trying to find out how to fit you into these situations. I get the feeling that you are now transforming and becoming more you, each of us, becoming more ourselves. And in the quest, oh gosh, this is so beautiful. Okay, so by trying to seek approval and validation outside of ourselves, by trying to fit who we are into an external, into a relationship, into community, into a work environment, by trying to make ourselves fit, we have found we've left parts and pieces and chunks of ourselves. What we are really missing is ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we have tossed aside, the parts of ourselves that we have abandoned, the parts of ourselves that we judged. Maybe others judged first and we judged. And so we stopped listening. We left those parts of ourselves. And so we're not feeling complete, and we're seeking completion outside of ourselves, approval from others. Feels like there's an end to this cycle. There's a beginning of accepting yourself, of unscattering your energy, of bringing those judged parts, those shame parts of you that you're ashamed of, parts of you that you're guilty, parts of you that you don't like about yourself. Feels like you're bringing those parts of you back and creating a bigger non-judgmental space. The more whole you are, the more space you make for yourself and all of yourself to show up, then it feels like the more you become, then the easier it is for your tribe, your family, your soulmates to find you and for you to find them, because you are resonating at your core frequency instead of pieces. The more you know who you are, the more unscattered you are, the more you know who you are, the more it's easy to make decisions based on who you are and what you want, not trying to figure out how others will feel about who you are and your decisions, but just making decisions. Decisions get easier, life gets easier. Wow, this feels very powerful. So it's an end of a cycle of being scattered, of being part of you showing up, of trying to figure out like who you need to be for this situation, and it's different than this situation, and it's different. So it feels like instead of, I mean, we all tune into people and situations, but it feels like you might have been more apt to leave parts of yourself behind, maybe leave parts of yourself behind while you're at work and you're not really yourself there, or within a relationship or friendships, or it feels like just the more you are yourself, the more you accept all of who you are, then you start recognizing other people who are also themselves and who match. And it also feels like not taking it so personally when someone rejects you. If they're like, yeah, you're not my cup of tea, you're like, cool, then that's not a good fit. I think part of why you might have taken it so personally when you had rejection in the past is because you worked so hard to create this facade, this image of who you are. And it's so frustrating when that gets rejected, because you're rejecting that. You don't even like who you're showing up as, because it's only a part of you. But when you're whole, when you're complete, when you're confident that, well, this is who I am, and someone rejects you, it's kind of like, cool, okay. Right. I hope you find what you're looking for, and I'm going to keep going too. So it just doesn't, it feels like, wow, becoming whole feels like you don't have to be as protective and guarded. It feels like a lot less work and a lot less effort. I feel there's a lot going on here. Boy, wow. Right, a family pattern is disruption, the tower. All right, a family pattern around towers. Ooh, all right. Looks like self-doubt, a lack of self-awareness, inner critic, self-loathing, punishment. Ooh, betrayal, deception, trickery, challenge, competition, protection, defense. So there's a family pattern. Oh, okay. Okay. This is a family cycle. I get the feeling that your family of origin, the house you grew up in, or houses, they let key kids, divorced kids, that there were incredible egos, that they were wrapped up in this facade of being part of themselves, of it really feels like that chameleon energy of showing up as parts and pieces. It feels like the home you grew up in was not that loving. It was more challenging, and each person out for themselves. And so when someone experiences a tower, and a tower is like a fated event, it's such a big disruption, it's chaos, it's seeing things clearly. I feel like your family, a pattern is when a tower happens, when someone has the opportunity to receive a calling to wake up, to see things clearly, that they double down on lies and deception. So they double down on what they know. I need to shift who I am and annex part of me and figure out how to become what I need to become in this, to have victory, to win at any cost. There's a headstrongness. I mean, if we're going, I mean, this energy, this family pattern, it is a family that's just very dedicated on not changing, on not growing, not doing the work, on I get the feeling that they become less and less themselves as time goes on. These people might be amazing and powerhouses in their 20s, early years, like amazing with what they can do. But the more that they stay in this energy, it feels like they're rattling apart. This might be some mental illness, because they never really find out who they really are. The goal is to find out who you need to be to make the situation or the group, to how to fit in that moment, how to not, it feels like a constant need to avoid pain, to avoid responsibility, to avoid fear, to avoid uncomfortable feelings. I'm getting that as if you're still here and this reading resonates, you have done so much inner child work, trauma work, shadow work. You have done so much work to become you, that this is the family pattern that you have shifted. This is the family pattern that you are ending the cycle on, that you don't ignore the calling, that you allow painful situations to wake you up, that you've gotten closer and closer to uncomfortable feelings and pain and trauma, and you can sit with that energy. That's so beautiful. It feels this whole reading, it feels like just you've released so much. And as you release and become more you, there's just a natural lightening and creating a larger space. I'm also getting that whether you know it or not, you becoming more you is getting a lot of attention. This is not the usual thing to do. People normally, I feel, they've been more in this family pattern. Each family, different issues, but trying to figure out how to be who you need to show up to please the people around you, instead of showing up whole and complete so you please yourself. Boy, wow. All right, a personal issue is obstacles and challenges. 5 of Wands. Personal issues. I feel like you've learned how to deal with obstacles and challenges in a very different way. It feels like, over the span of the last years that you have slowly turned your boat around. Finally seeing more and more clearly. Feel like all the little changes that you've made in how you do things and how you show up in the world is now kind of congealing and coming together. Yeah. So you're also completing a cycle. There's just so many cycles ending here. The World card is the last card in the major arcana, a completion. It feels like your personal issue is actually a beautiful issue. Your personal issue is how you deal with your obstacles and challenges. They're no longer like, oh my God, like, it's like, oh, interesting. Very interesting. This is not expected. This was something comes up in your day, and it's a challenge, maybe something unexpected, maybe something unwanted, but instead of a normal, typical response, it feels like you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely unwanted, but I wonder why it's happening. I wonder what's coming up now. Feel like you're getting more curious. I feel like the more you have learned how to deal with obstacles and challenges, probably from this past situation where there was so much injustice and inequality and imbalance, whatever you've learned from this, it's obstacles just don't. I also feel like the more whole you are, then you show up very whole, and so you can deal with challenges, where when you're only 1/10 of you, and your programs and fake stuff and trying to show up as like someone else instead of yourself, then it's really hard to figure out, like, what should I do? Feels like the main operating, like, what would one do in this position? I don't know what one should do. Whereas now, when you're whole and complete, when you're more yourself, then you're not worried about how others are going to judge you or how you're perceived. You're concerned with how you're perceiving yourself, because that's what's important. And so obstacles become interesting. You're like, I don't know, what do I want to do with this obstacle? How do I want to? It's not like, what should one do? What does one do? Does not compute. It's, I don't know. What do I want to do with this? Very, very huge and yet subtle and huge. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. All right, your conscience, what you would do if no one were judging you. Movement, choices, decisions. Yeah, I have a feeling that becoming, now that you're more of a whole and complete person, the way you move, the choices you make, the decisions you make, are yours. I get this feeling of not needing approval from others. I get this real trusting yourself. I feel like you're moving differently. You're making different choices. You're making different decisions. I get that if I were to talk to you a year ago from now, you didn't move. You didn't make these same types of decisions. That you have been working on your self-worth. You've been pouring into you. I feel like in the past, you might have been, you might have expended a lot of energy to paint a picture for people on social media, in person, of how great your life is, and, painting a facade. It feels like you spent a lot of energy on ego, how you appear to others. I don't get the case. I don't feel like that's accurate now. I feel like you're more honest. Sure, you'll definitely gear your response based on who you're talking to, but it feels like you move very differently. All right, your desire is 8 of Wands, accelerated motion. Yeah, you're wanting things to move along. Something, a quick message. This is one of the quickest cards in the tarot deck. So let's see. I get this feeling like you are really ready. This transformation has taken a while. This is not an overnight thing. Just might be, I might be looking at the energy of a year, a couple of years. You're exhausted from all this transformational energy. I feel like you're ready to, it feels like you've been in transformational energy and healing energy for so long. You really would like to incorporate some full living. It really does look like you're ready with that Fool card to start something new. Like you really want to, if you were a brand new car, feel like you want to take that car out and drive it and explore and have some fun in it. It's like the new you, the full and more complete you is really excited about getting out there and creating that new beginning. I think that in prior years, that Fool card would scare the bejesus out of you. But that Fool knows that they don't need that much. They've got a flower and a stick with some belongings, and then their dog, and they're not even looking. They're totally trusting that they can just step off that cliff and everything will be fine. not out of ignorance, but out of just a complete trust, a knowing. I'm getting a suggestion to trust in divine timing, that this will happen. There's something that's going to happen really fast. Feels like a big shift is on its way. I get the feeling that once this shift really happens, that you're going to be like, whoa, 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 wait. So what I'm getting is enjoy every moment, enjoy the pause before the accelerated motion, enjoy the pace. Like if your life was a different song every day, when there's a slow song and you'd really rather have an upbeat song, to just appreciate what is showing up, to not need it to be something other than it is, to not need yourself to be something other than you are, to not need it. That's what it feels like. Oh, wanting what you have feels very tied to appreciation, appreciating what you have, instead of being like a critic and being like, that sunrise looks gorgeous, but I think I would want less orange there, and I'd probably move that tree out of the way. So something beautiful like a sunrise, instead of being so critical and needing something to change in order for you to appreciate it, feels like appreciating what arises, instead of needing it to be different, needing it to be faster, needing it to be slower. So it feels like there's still some controlling, a desire to control how things are unfolding, instead of getting curious and appreciating how they are unfolding. All right, so the lesson right now is 8 of Swords, trapped in fear. Feel like you collective really know this card, that you have come across this feeling trapped in fear a lot in your life. I feel like you are an expert on feeling trapped, maybe trapped by your own beliefs, your own limited beliefs. And it feels like you have figured out how to shift this, how not to be so trapped in fear, how to acknowledge fear. Because when you are trapped in fear, then fear creates this amazing disconnect and distorts the reality of the situation. Oh, I get the feeling that being trapped in fear, like not at some point, a lot of times in your life, being afraid to take a step in a direction that would be best for you, instead staying fearful, has been a root cause of a lot of your depression, a lot of your sadness. It feels like it has made your world smaller and smaller and smaller, to try to, I feel like you had this belief that fear, you going around your day and you hit fear, and you're like, well, I'll just go the other way then, instead of going into it, getting curious about it, moving into that fear, to show yourself that that you can do it. But the more you have adjusted in your life to not tackling, not moving towards, it feels like fear has been a major deterrent in your life. I'm getting as a family pattern that was a way to control you, make you fearful with words, with behaviors, with physical action. It feels like behavior modification, using fear. You were probably a pretty good kid, disciplined. But so you would do what you were told more often than not. So this training made you very compliant, and taught you that when someone or something is scary, that you don't do it. So yes, it made you a very diligent and beautiful child, but it sets everybody up who's been trained with fear and punishment growing up. That is not someone who can think for themselves. That's not someone who can think things out. They're trying to avoid getting hurt, avoid pain, avoid fear. Ooh. All right. In the center of your reading is solitude. 9. It's okay to be alone right now, be separated. I feel like this is such a powerful reading and a powerful transformative time. I don't know if you can really see this gal's book. On one page, there's writing, and on the other page, it's blank. And so it feels like going within to really meditate on what your story is going to be from here on out, who you're going to be, who you want to be more of, like more parts of you. You know, I used to be more fun. I used to be more lighthearted. I used to have more of a childlike wonder about things, remembering those parts of you, bringing them in, activating them. Your challenge right now is patience. Yes. So you're wanting this quick motion, you're wanting to move on. And right now, there's some balancing out. There's some timing, some divine timing. There's wanting that seed to be grown and produced instead of enjoying every day watering that seed and watching and appreciating each step along the way. So again, I'm going to reiterate that as the same as the desire was a need to, a suggestion to appreciate right where you are. Because at some point there's going to be some really fast motion. And if you practice enjoying your day, no matter what comes up, that way you are in control of your day and how you view it. You are not judging so harshly what the universe is showing you. You are not demanding that it be any different than how it is. You're learning to appreciate what arises and meet with the full strength of who you are. Meet the day, meet each day. All right, that one really popped out. King of Cups, emotional balance. I'm getting that part of that needing things to be different than what they are might be pointing to an issue of some type of emotional imbalance, something. Oh, inner critic. That feels like family pattern too. It feels like the people in this family pattern are very critical. And they were raised in a critical environment. They were raised in a critical environment. They were raised in a critical environment. And so it creates people who are constantly looking for what's not working. You don't want the other side of that, which is someone who spiritually bypasses that everything's fine, because that's not the truth either. It feels like you're finding a balance. All right, the advice right now is 6 of Pentacles, material and spiritual prosperity, balancing out. Something is balancing out. Yes, spiritually, something is really balancing out in your life, and as it relates to your finances. I get the feeling that there's been a lot of worries about finances, about not having enough, a financial lack, financial loss. But spiritually, it is very interesting looking that there are, now that I'm looking through this lens, this reading, there are several cards that are talking about this lack of success, financial loss, unpaid debts. Feels like you've had this, you've had to take care of yourself financially, and it's created a burden. Feels like you've worked really hard. Yeah, okay. And it looks like you might be up against recently someone who used manipulation, lies, and misused their power. This might be a professional, and I get the feeling they were meant to bring you this material prosperity. They were meant to help with your financial situation, but instead they created more of a burden. My dog. All right, so I asked what the outcome would be of this 4 of Wands. So whatever is going on with this, if this is resonating, that there's someone who impacted your finances. They were quite possibly supposed to be helping you find a balance to help you so you wouldn't be so in lack. But they lied. They misused their power and used manipulation, which created a burden on you. And I get that the outcome will be successful for you. That much more successful than you believe. I am also getting that if you're waiting to feel good about life, when that happens, that's energetically the wrong way of doing it, to be happy despite what the outcome is, to not need the outcome of Four of Wands in order for you to give yourself permission to be happy and celebrate. Do not be attached to needing the outcome to be any specific way. Will actually help you, like with manifesting, there's a detachment necessary. And the more attached you are to an outcome, then I found the least likely it is that is the outcome you get. The more detached you are from and just enjoying life just because, the less you're worrying, the less you're waiting for something to happen, the better it is. So, all right, collective, that's your reading. I hope this was helpful. Thank you all for your comments and your liking these videos. I'm just really enjoying getting to know all of you in the comments. And yeah, just wanted to say hi and thank you. Take care. Bye.